Hey, what is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you are all doing well. This is episode 7 of tracking my progress with Apex Trader funding, of becoming funded, staying funded, and earning some payouts along the way. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel, and a reminder that trading is hard, so please give yourself some grace. This is what you can expect from the videos within my series. And going into today's activity, it was a bit stressful, honestly. And the stress wasn't even from the trades I entered or the setups or the mindset. The stress came directly from the tech issue I faced within Tradevate. If you are not familiar with Tradevate's API limits, if you were to exceed those limits, you would have to contact Tradevate to reset it for you. This could take however long it needs to take, depending on when they accept your case, actually execute it, and then contact you back. So every time you do an action on the chart, and just for some examples, when you enter into a trade, when you exit a trade, when you adjust your stop loss, adjust your TP, even if it's for a tick, every tick you move it, that is a thing. If you limit into your trades, any action on the chart, basically, it counts as one execution for the API limit. So for me, I ended up getting into a position. I added my TP on the chart, but I was not able to add my stop loss on the chart because I had just hit the max amount of API executions. So it was about a minute and a half away from when the hourly cooldown happens and then it resets for me or for the trader. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I'll give it the minute and a half or whatever it was to reset, and then I'll just refresh my screen. So at this point, I'm like low key kind of freaking out, but I also know it's only about a minute and a half. Like that's not too bad, although a lot of things can happen in a minute and a half. The main things that were running through my mind that eventually started to kind of spiral and become more panicky was one, knowing that price can do whatever it wants, right? It could either go up or can go down. If it goes up, I have a TP on the chart, no problem, sounds great, cool. But the other side is that I don't have a stop loss because of the API limit being reached. So if price does end up going in the opposite direction, I don't have a stop loss to protect my capital. Instead, it might just run all the way down and it could blow my account, which leads to the second thing in my mind, which is even if price goes in my favor for a little bit and I'm in profit, but then it comes back down, the intraday trailing drawdown is going to be eaten up pretty badly because I'm still at the time was intraday trailing drawdown. So that is going to make it even more quicker for me to blow my account if it does end up going in profit, just to reject and go past my stop loss. So these two main concepts were just running through my mind, and eventually, like I said, got worse and worse as I was waiting for the minutes to go by before my API was reset. So great, the hour was up. I refreshed the screen, everything went black. And if you're familiar with this, which you should know with Tradevate users, is once you refresh when your API limit has been exceeded, it goes black and it has the word loading right in the middle. Before that, it has a little pop-up that says ask for support at their email address because you've reached too many requests. So that's what happened. So I'm like, okay, like I'm going to send them an email. I sent them an email and I waited a few minutes for a response. The AI bot got back to me saying it's been reset. I go back into Tradevate, I refresh it. Everything's back to normal, right? I'm like, okay, great. I see my screen, I see my trade, all the things. Let me try to add a stop loss. Doesn't work. So I'm like, okay, let me exit at market. Doesn't work. Refresh the screen. It goes back to that the black screen saying, hey, loading in the middle. So I'm like, okay, great. I got to contact them again, send them another email, said it's not reset. Didn't hear back from them. And at this point is where the ultimate panic spiral mode went into play. I was just all emotional, feeling just flustered and scared and a little bit upset because this is completely out of my control. And mind you, it's not necessarily Tradewate's fault, right? They have these API limits in default for whatever reason it is. So that's fine, but it's also something I cannot personally control. I cannot exit the position. I cannot add a stop loss. I cannot do anything. So that's where the spiral started to really kick in even more because I knew I had no control over this thing that is so simple. Once I have a stop loss, I'm like, okay, it's totally fine if the price does not go in my direction. I could care less, but it's a matter of like reduce or managing my risk properly by having that stop loss. So I go through my emails and I find their phone number from before. I'm like, okay, I give them a call. They say this is the wrong department. They transfer me over. So within about, I'll say 40 seconds, maybe 30 seconds, I'm speaking to the right person to reset my API limits. I'm like, okay, cool. I got the help I needed. Took him about a minute to get everything sorted. I also asked for the direct line for that department in case this happens again in the future. Got that settled away and saved in my phone, in my notes, and my API is reset. refresh the screen, back to normal, add the stop loss on, and guess what? Price goes straight to TP. So yes, at the end of the day, like it worked out, right? The trade worked in my favor. It was for the longs, of course, but it was the fact of not being able to just add a stop loss because I wanted to, because I needed to. And that in itself just flared me into this whole just abyss of chaos mode. And yes, I think I could have 100% handled it a little bit differently internally, like the emotional flare, the thoughts in my head, and try to be a little bit more calm as humanly possible. But just knowing that I had no control over the risk management part of putting my stop loss on there, and I had to wait for someone else to be able to give me access to do that, just flipped me out of this world. So yeah, I spent a couple minutes explaining to you my very stressful story about what I went through this morning. And you know what? I took a huge lesson from it, two lessons from it. The first one is that I should be more prepared in the event that this happens, whether it's have the email already pulled up, like ready to go. But more importantly, now that I have their phone number, I can just give them a call right away. Don't wait the minute and a half to see if the API is going to reset. Just contact them immediately the moment I see that signal, that pop up that I have too many requests or that my API has been reached, because I think that can reduce the amount of time I was waiting and also get helped faster. The second takeaway is that for all the times I fiddle on my chart, whether it's scaling in and out of positions, it's adding a limit order, it's adjusting things on the chart, all of the things that I'm doing, be just a little bit more mindful of how much I'm clicking away, especially during New York Open when all the volume is happening and I'm bound to do things on my chart within that first hour, hour and a half of trading. Just be smart. Just be smart. That's simple as that. Just be smart and be mindful of what I'm doing on my chart. So, yeah, but let's go ahead and now move into price action, because this is a part that I think helps the most with my confidence, with my strategy, and helps a lot, I think, with people watching. I've seen a few comments of people saying, like, my entries and exits, the setups, the good breakdown, and all that. So, let's get into it. Key levels were respected. Momentum was great today. Supply and demand on the higher and lower time frame were awesome possum. So the main setups, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll count this as like a 4.5. Really great main trades. You can call this 5 if you want to. Pretty much it is 5, but yeah, so 5 main great trades from today that were really, really great opportunities. So first things first, looking at the overall price action that happened between yesterday and today, we pushed into an H4 level. H4 supply zone, I should be more specific. And with H4 supply, based off of my supply and demand zone playbook strategy, the first or second tap into a higher time frame zone, it's important to watch how price reacts within the zone to find an entry for a potential reversal. This today, the third, was the second time I would consider it as the official time we've tapped into that zone of trying to see if we can break past it. Based on my playbook and waiting for price reaction for a bearish rejection, we had just that. So this was not anything that I traded, but seeing how price reacted, I'm like, okay, it's still respecting the supply zone. Let me see if there's a reason for us to kind of bounce back and find a way to get back into the zone. Are we going to have a consolidation period between this H4 and previous demand and support levels? Or are we going to find a way to reject and go lower, or find a way to break higher, retest, and then go higher from that level for all-time highs? So find the break, found previous demands on the left of the chart, found previous support as well on the left of the chart. And we also had that sweep from yesterday, that liquidity sweep I was looking for, still finding support above it. So I'm like, okay, this is great news for me. I'm going to look for a long opportunity off of these particular confluence combined together. So we had a 5-minute demand that was created here, a bit ugly, but still nonetheless combined with the other confluences, very much valid. So 5-minute demand, then our third bull candle right here. We have a tap below and a bullish closure, looking for a long opportunity, enter, take the long all the way for a 1-to-1. Simple as that, pretty fast, easy trade. Nothing special about it. Next trade was right here after we came back from that 1-to-1, had a rejection spike, and now we're kind of consolidating for the next 15-20 minutes. From here, I am looking for another long opportunity. So from here, we create this little black bearish candle. Then we have a nice sweep below with a bullish spring to bounce right off of that 5-minute demand, alongside all the other previous confluences, right? Support, the liquidity sweep from before, and other demand levels. And so we have a bullish closure. And for me, that looks pretty good, because that shows we have bullish momentum off of those previous levels all combined together. So now I want to see a retap back into this 5-minute demand that was created. We do, boom, take the bullish closure, take the long for a 1-to-1 right there. The next best trade setup was right here. So you could have definitely taken this and just sat through it all as price was kind of moving. But for me personally, I didn't really like the way that we kind of tapped into it. There was no bullish closure after the tap. So to explain, we have this candle right here, this black one, and then the blue one. This is a 5-minute demand. We have a push up, bearish closure. Even though we tap below, it's a bearish closure. And based off of my premature entries from before the last 2 days, I'll say, that I spoke about on the videos, that has been hurting me more than helping me. So yes, like I could have entered here, right? I could have, and then taken for small profit. But the goal for my usual go-to setup is a 1-to-1. So that wouldn't have even been feasible. I would have went up a little bit and then price would have rejected just to come back down to retest it and put me in some drawdown that I didn't need to put myself in. So waited a bit longer, and as price started to come back down into the 5-minute demand, now we have a bullish closure after we tapped into it, bullish closure here. This would have been the more correct setup to have taken, to be fair, but I didn't take it because after we had this created and then this bullish candle created, this looked like another 5-minute demand. So we have one 5-minute demand, we have a second 5-minute demand. So I'm like, okay, I'd rather wait for price to come back down to retest the second new 5-minute demand and go ahead and take a long off of it once we have a bullish closure. Also, if we can respect the Fibonacci levels of the 38.2, the 50%, and the 61.8. I think I'm saying those numbers right. So came back down, respected everything, and to me we have resistance, created support, and now we're pushing off. Bullish momentum spring, all the other past confluences. We are within a huge consolidation range from previous H4 and then the other levels below. We're at 50%. We're holding 50% of that whole range. Looks pretty solid to me. So take the long opportunity, pretty much little amount of drawdown straight to TP. Then the next setup, this one is a bit of a long one. So I did already exit. By the time this video is uploaded and at the time of me recording, price is right up here, right? It took the screenshot right before I started recording. So price is all the way up here. I already exited because I was already tired of holding this trade for so long. I want to be done. I wanted to record this and just go about my day, have things to do. So I exited this long trade right around here when I took this other trade, this half trade, this number 5 trade, whatever you want to call it. But essentially, same idea, right? Holding all the previous 5-minute demands, trendline demand push, and then we have a rally based rally. So 5-minute demand, we have a bullish push up, bearish closure, and then now we have a bullish closure with support of everything else. Take the long setup and then hold it all the way through until we got to this 5th trade where it was a bit tight. ATR, I think at the time was like 7, maybe 8. Don't quote me on that, but it was definitely around like that 6 to 8 range. And so from here, I saw a demand setup, right? We have the resistance, a break, retest, holding it. Next candles are starting to break and hold. I'm sorry, break higher and continue to hold the previous resistance as well as the break and retest. So with the 5-minute demand right here, I'm like, okay, this looks decent. Put the fib on it. Let's see where the percentage levels are and see how price reacts as we start to tap into it. Once we had a tap into that 5-minute demand here, enter the trade and was starting to face a bit of drawdown. So I wanted to see the respect of the fib levels, which we continue to respect. We were so close to getting stopped out, but we did not. Instead, price reverted back up, creating another 5-minute demand with the support level of previous resistance here, and continue to push up into that 1-to-1 within that 5. Trailed the other trade idea alongside with it because I was just tired of holding my trade at that point, and I was all done. So that was the best setups of today and trades that I did participate in. The other trades in between, I don't really talk too much about those, but took some losses, of course. Took the loss of a premature entry on other accounts when we were coming into here, but when for Apex, they're my primary ones, so I gotta be more aware, more patient. But my other accounts took a premature trade here. When we had this move right here, the first one I told you guys about, took a premature trade there. For the other accounts, learned that lesson. For those, or not learn that lesson, applied the lesson from before onto my Apex accounts, and that's why I was saying the last 2 days I kept having that same premature thing. Did it again today for a third time on the other account, so I knew on my Apex I had to be a little bit more patient for it to do its thing. I could have entered right here, looking at the chart right now, I could have entered right here. It would have been the same entry, but obviously in hindsight, I'm really glad I didn't, because I would have faced even more heat before I actually got the move up. So glad I waited when I did. So that was everything when it comes to the chart. And this is the end result from today's session. Pretty happy about this. I'm very happy about this. So, yeah, we'll get into it. So, as far as like a consolidation summary of what happened, clear rejection from the same H4 supply yesterday. Look for buying opportunity at the same level of previous sweep of liquidity, demand zones, and I forgot to include support levels. Market open with the volume pouring in at market open was a very easy long opportunity. And then once price came back to retest the previous M5 demands and support levels, I was only long buys for the rest of the day. Game plans stay the same, made a slight adjustment to number 3, continue to stay in the it's boring mind, and then embrace all that happens and let the trade do the work. Desired outcome, stay funded with Apex, obviously. This is the part where I'm really happy about and giving me flowers for is 14 of the 20 accounts, the 14 that I started this series with, have reached the required safety buffer of $2,600, which means now instead of intraday trailing, I have static drawdown. So that is just awesome possum. I'm so freaking thrilled about it. And the next desired outcome for the 14 accounts is to secure the payouts. The other 6 were only on day 2, so I have a little bit of time to kind of, work my way through it. But just like I did for the first 14, take my time and do the best that I can. So, yeah, I'm really happy about it. Maybe I'm not showing it that well on camera right now, but like internally, I just feel extremely blessed and grateful that I'm finally here at this moment. And yeah, I will add the extra context that I reached out to Apex because on day 2, on one of my episodes I posted in the series, I had a bad losing day. I had a $1,000 losing day, but my unrealized losses, I don't recall what it was. So there is the 30% rule to respect with Apex for losses and wins. And so with that, I want to make sure that I'm respecting it and that, I actually am following it in order to even be approved for a payout. When it comes to contract sizing, I know I'm very consistent there. I have no problems there. So I know that won't be an issue. It's just only the fact of my unrealized losses versus my actual losses and the consistency combined with that. That's the only part I'm worried about that would reject me from a payout because I don't know where I'm at with it. So I asked them for help. Hopefully they can help me with breaking down where I'm at or at least point to me in the right direction to figure that out myself. But that is where we are right now. For the amount of time I've held the accounts, 12 days in total, but for trading days, like active trading days, 8 days. So this is day 8. So by tonight, I could actually submit for a payout request. So that's why I'm hoping the Apex team can get back to me on the whole situation with my consistency and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty amazing. The statement that I will say for myself, I did update it to make it a little bit more specific now. So I can trade. I am trading good. I will become funded and get paid out. I am funded and I am getting paid out. I have a strategy that I will follow. I have a strategy that I am following. Area of improvement, don't enable myself to spiral. Try not to let the action of posting online impact how I trade. Focus on my lane and focus on my journey. Sorry guys, I'm a bit under the weather, so talking hurts a bit. So I apologize if I'm like, and also my voice is dry from talking so fast, I think, for the last couple minutes in this video. Remember to stick with micros on volatile days and when emotion creeps in. This is a new area of improvement. I was stressed from the API limits of Tradevate, and that did cause an emotional flare. And then the last part is I traded more than I should have today. And although the trade ideas themselves did work out and I was trading based off of those opportunities I saw on the chart, I also caught myself trading because I was trying to chase more profits since I'm above the safety net. So obviously, now that I'm above 2,600 profit of the 14 accounts, anything I make above that is just creating that buffer so then I have wiggle room before I ever blow the accounts. My mind automatically kind of registered to that. And on the last trade where I was explaining this one right here, I caught myself doing that. And that's why when I had this 5th opportunity and I exited there, I knew that, dude, I need to get off because if I continue to hold this trade, yes, it could hit TP. Yes, it could hit stop loss. Yes, it's part of my system. But emotionally and mentally, it was starting to connect and register to the fact that any profits that I make, it's going to be to build that buffer, and that means I want more money. So my mind went from process centric to now profits centric. And I don't know about you guys, but normally for me that is a recipe for disaster, and I didn't want that. So that's why I knew that I needed to call it quits, and that is why I exited when I did, on top of scaling or trailing the position anyways. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of glad that I caught that when I did, because that is considered an area of strength, giving myself flowers for it, but also to area of improvement, because I could have easily, removed myself from that position sooner than later. I think that's the best way of putting it. And then area of strength, accepted risk prior to entering my trades, held steady besides the whole trade of the API situation throughout my entire session. So yeah, so I'm pretty happy with everything now. Baby steps, baby steps. And let's see what happens next, depending on Apex's response, if I need to continue to make more profit or if it makes sense for me to submit a payout tonight. And as far as the sales go with Apex, the Cyber Monday Black Friday is over, that deal. So right now we are kind of in limbo, waiting to see if Apex is going to launch a new sale. I would imagine they do. They normally always do. But if you are interested to trade with Apex, until then, if you want to get started now, it's currently 50% off their evals. I personally would wait for the next sale instead of paying it at the 50% off generic discount. If you do end up using my code Jesse, though, between the time this video is uploaded and when the new sale launches, my code Jesse will automatically give you the highest discount applied. But that's everything I wanted to include for episode 7. It was definitely a very interesting one, with part of it being stressful and the other part of it being very exciting now that I've met the static drawdown. So we're going to keep pushing through, keep the chin up, best foot forward, and try to be better and do better 1% each day. As always, I really appreciate y'all for tuning in, your time, and your support. And I wish you all nothing but the best and the most success in all that you do. And I will see you all in the next video.